I'm Boyle and I'm quitting alcohol. So the boys were fired up on site today. They were absolutely fucking frothing. The union is in big trouble. They're coming after the union and now they're coming after our super. That's what everyone was saying on site. Every single cunt I bumped into, they're like, they're after our super now. Are you coming to the rally? So what's happening is the CFMEU, this union that I've been talking about for the last few months, they're just getting slammed left, right and centre by the government at the moment. And so tomorrow they're holding a rally. All the union members, which I'm not one of, are going down to the city tomorrow and rallying for their rights. And the rest of the boys on site are union members. So basically tomorrow it's going to be tools down and I think it's just going to be us on site. But the boys were not fucking happy. They were in a lather today. They're like, they're coming after our super now. And superannuation, for people who are not from Australia, is basically your retirement fund. You get paid like between 10 and 12%, or 15% if you're a union member actually, of your pay gets paid by your employer into a superannuation fund, a retirement fund, and those retirement funds go to the casino and gamble on whatever the fuck they want. Usually they're really conservative and they get really fucking bad returns. They barely beat inflation ever. Then they've got fees on top of it. So you end up with a little bit of money at the end of your life, but it all gets whittled away by the fucking superannuation fund. So obviously something's gone down and the government said we're doing something with your super if you're part of the union or something. I don't know. I haven't been paying any attention, but every guy on site, the alley Mac driver, the fucking dogman, the concreter, the steel fixers, they're coming after me super now. And I asked, the dogman, I'm like, are they like, what's going on? How are they coming after it? And he's like, oh, I don't fucking know, but they're coming after it. They're coming after it, the dogs. They're going to give all the money to Ukraine. That is legitimately what he said. They're going to take our super and use it to give tanks to Ukraine. All up for a conspiracy theory. Trust me. I am well up for a conspiracy theory, but I don't know the link. They might. I think we just sent 70 tanks over to the Ukraine or something. Anyway, I asked him. He didn't know. I asked the form worker. He was the first one who brought it up. He's like, they're coming after our super now. I'm like, how are they coming after it? What's going on? And he's like, oh, the fucking government, they're all corrupt cunts. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know they are, but what are they doing with the super? And then he just walked off and I asked the steel fixers. No one could tell me what was actually happening with their super, but they were coming for it. So I can imagine tomorrow, I kind of want to go down to the fucking rally, but I also would rather get paid. I would rather not forego a day's pay for the union. They were actually no fucking help for us at all. They did nothing. They just tried to con us into getting a membership pretty much, which is $1,200 a year or whatever, $750, $1,000, something. So the lads are heading down there tomorrow. Our boys are going to be on site. I suppose they'll call us scabs or something if we don't go. They take it pretty seriously. And I would be taking it pretty seriously if I was a fucking alley Mac driver, which is just a lift. He presses a button up and down. It's one level. If I was an alley Mac driver clearing in the bank $4,500 a week and I have no other skills, I would be concerned too. I would be down there with a placard in the alley Mac today because he was one of the most vocal about the super and going to the fucking rally. He's like, no one's going to work for $1,000 a week. You look out there Look at the steel fixers. No one's going to do that job for $1,000 a week. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not the steel fixing. That's fucking brutal hard work. But the alley Mac driving, the up and down, the one button, I'm pretty sure we can find someone to do that for $600 a week. I'm sure there's an Indian sitting at 7-Eleven right now that will just fucking swoop in and take that. Not that that's a good thing, but these are the forces of the market. Anyway, we'll see how all that fucking plays out tomorrow. Today's Monday. Brutal fucking Monday. The sun was out. I was in it for 5 hours and it just looks like it's going to get worse all week. It's still winter here in Sydney and it's going to be 29 degrees on Friday, which is like 84, 85 Fahrenheit or some shit like that. Anyway, Monday, you know what that means. It's time for Ask Boyle time. So if you have a question you would like answered by one of the greatest minds of generation or any generation, comedian, philosopher, crane operator, waterproofer, Le Boyle, then head to my website, boylecomedy.com. There's a section there for Ask Boyle. Put in your deets, ask your question. There's another section there for Fucked Up Fridays. Keep sending in the stories. And there's also another section there for Patreon. They're coming for me super, so I need you to jump on board the Patreon. It's £1 a month. You got the Jenny Diaries. You got fucking Waterproofing 101. It's all happening there. Sign up, buy the ticket, take the ride. Anyway, let's get to this week's Ask Boyle. So this week's Ask Boyle was sent in anonymously, so I'll just get right to it. I graduated from college with a degree in biomedical engineering. The only reason I did that major was because I'm smart and I wanted to keep my options open if I wanted to go into medicine. I have since realized that I don't want to be an engineer and trying to become a doctor would be an insane amount of pointless schooling and I would go into massive debt. Also, I've had some bad experiences with healthcare in the US and I think it's all pretty corrupt. I don't know what to do with my life to make money. I want to have enough money to live comfortably and I don't really know where to start. What would you do if you were in my position? Well, Anonymito, you have come to the right place. Well, we are kind of similar. We are both fucking very highly intelligent. We both want to live comfortably and we both don't want to do any work for it. I don't know what the fuck I even want to do now. I'm really struggling at the moment to figure out whether the things I do are motivated by ego or meaning. Like I'm finding it very hard to pass those two out at the moment. So I'm a little confused myself, but that is just to do with like comedy and podcasting and all that sort of stuff, which I would not recommend doing any of that shit. If I was in your position, I assume you're pretty young. You're probably 22, 23, maybe younger. Look, fucking, you don't understand how time works at that age. You think a block of 4 years is a monumental amount of time. But it isn't. It goes quick. It disappears. And when you're young, you can pack a lot into 4 years. So time sort of works a little bit differently when you're young. You can do a lot, but it also feels like a monumental amount of time. But you just got to understand that fucking it isn't that long, like a 4-year block. So let's say you're 22 now. 4 years, you could become a qualified electrician. You could do another full university degree. You could go traveling for a 4-year block. You could do those 3 things and you'll only be 34 at the end of it. Now, in your mind, 34 might sound old, but 34 is still very young. You can start again at 34. You can start anew. It's not a problem. But if I was you and I was starting everything again for the first time, I would think of something and spend 4 years building a business of some sort, or a company, or just anything, even if it's like a coffee shop, or who fucking knows, who fucking cares. Pour your money that you would spend on your doctor's whatever degree and start a business, because you could learn so much about life and money and fucking hard work and everything that you actually need to put in to get a business running. And you'll find out about success and failure. The thing, when I was young, I was too scared of failure. I mean, I failed at everything I did, but I never really did anything seriously because I was scared of the failure. So if I just did bullshit and failed at the bullshit, it wouldn't hurt me. But then I started doing comedy and I failed at comedy constantly. I just got beat up. I got fucking like trashed. 10 years, 12 years, just absolutely demoralized. Just every fucking humiliation you can imagine I went through. But during that period, it made me rethink risk and failure and success and everything, really. It reorganized my whole fucking mind. And it made me realize that failure is nothing to be afraid of at all. Like, failure should be something you fucking throw yourself at. You should be failing all the time at like everything. You should be trying things that are so hard that you're going to fail. Because on the journey, and the journey is the point of all of this, the destination doesn't matter. So the journey through that failure is where you learn everything. That's where you build character and resilience and wisdom. And those things can be applied to anything you do in life. So that's why I say start a business of some sort. I would have done that when I was younger, but I was too scared. I was a coward. There's no other way to say it. I wanted to do something like that. I just didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to start. I was too scared of the failure. I was too scared of the humiliation of the failure. And so I just did nothing. I just drank. I just drank and chose things that I could fail at because they meant nothing to me. And if you were to start a business of some sort, I don't even know what that means. But I'm pretty sure on the journey through, like, building the business, starting it, creating it, coming up with the ideas, doing the logos, working out the accounting, trying to get fucking marketing happening, trying to get people in, selling. Like, there's life. That's life. And you're already smart. All you need is, like, the life lessons, the character building stuff, the wisdom. And so you want to throw yourself into something where you're going to get those things. I'll tell you this, you don't want to be working for anyone ever. You don't want to let anyone have you by the balls at any point for any reason. You want your freedom at all costs. So I would take a little bit of that fucking brain power you got, and I would try and get access to some capital, and I would just start a fucking anything. I'm not talking about like drop shipping or something like that. Maybe you could even do that as well. I mean, like, create something of value. I think that's what I would try and do if I was to start again. I would be much more bold than I was when I was younger. I was crazy when I was younger. I did insane shit, but I wasn't bold. I didn't have courage. It takes courage to build something. It takes courage to put your balls on the line. It takes real balls to go out on a fucking limb. So that's what I would do. And I would take the attitude that failure is not an issue. If this thing doesn't work, this is just like an apprenticeship. Who gives a fuck? You'll learn some shit. You'll figure some shit out. Do you know how many times in my life I've said, I should have just done an apprenticeship. I'd be finished by now. I should have just kept on doing that university degree. I'd be finished by now. I've said it like 5 or 6 times, which means I could have finished it 5 or 6 times if I'd just started. Just start something. I mean, you've got your degree, but you don't want to do that. Just start a business, fucking build it, grow it, learn. That'll do. That'll do for tonight. I hope that helped, and I'll see you the fuck later.